والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Please do make dua for Brother Aurangzeb's father-in-law who passed away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him Jannah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. As we were going through the a'mal that will be a source of regret and remorse on the Day of Judgment, and the purpose of this is to be mindful. Hudhayfa bin Yaman radiyallahu anhu, Kitab al-Fitan Sahih Bukhari, Hudhayfa bin Yaman radiyallahu anhu says that people used to come to the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, and they used to ask the Prophet alayhi salam for good things, good deeds, things that you can do to increase in goodness. Where I, on the other hand, وَكُنْتُ أَسْأَلُهُ عَنِ الشَّرِّ مُخَافَةَ أَن يُدْرِكَنِي, that I used to come and ask the Prophet ﷺ about evil actions. Why? So that I can refrain from it and protect myself from it. Many of times a person goes a long way in developing a good action in his life without removing a bad action. Because as you develop the ability to do good, an individual needs to make an effort to develop an effort to stay away from an evil action. Otherwise, sometimes the severity of the evil action may be so great that even a good deed will not be sufficient. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu says, the riwayat of Imam Ahmed's Masjid, that I came to the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, and I said, Ya Rasulullah, what's your opinion regarding a person who is very punctual in his salah, very punctual in his nightly prayer, very punctual in his ibadah, but unfortunately his neighbors don't have a good opinion about him. He is very harmful towards his neighbor. So Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam said, La khayra fihi. There is no goodness in that person. And in fact, he is doing such an action which will lead him towards hellfire. So on one side, he developed a good action in his life. But on the other side, he never thought about removing a bad action from his life. So what happens? The evil surpasses and overpowers the good. And eventually that good will not be powerful enough. Remember, there is a difference between obligation. The obligation is fulfilled. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold him accountable of this person, why didn't he pray? But on the other hand, Allah will hold him accountable that why was he harmful. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Wallahi la yu'min. I swear by Allah, this person is not a believer. And then he repeated this word the second time. And then he repeated this word the third time. And the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, who is this person that you are so emphasized that he is not a believer? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, La yu'minu jaruhu bawa'iqahu. Or kama qala alayhi salatu wassalam. That his neighbors are not secure from his mischief. What kind of mischief? Doing something that is harming. Maybe parking your car in his driveway where he needs to get out. That's a mischief. Without his permission. Or blocking his driveway. Or doing something that might be difficult for him. So these are actions that we might think, yes, it's okay, he's my brother, I would think, all of this. Rasul alayhi salatu wassalam said, La yahillu. It is not permissible for a person to use someone else's property without his permission. If you want to use it the first time, you ask permission. If you want to use it the second time, you ask permission. If you want to use it the third time, you ask permission. You don't just go on the first, because at that time, maybe the situation might be different. And the situation is different now. So these things, when they are put into the other pan of scale, the other pan of scale is getting heavier. So as we are mindful of our actions, we are mindful of our... This is why harming another individual, it's a great sin. Similarly, Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam said, "Man naffasa an mu'minin kurba." The person who relieves a believer from a calamity, Allah will relieve him from the calamities of the Day of Judgment. Imagine a person who puts another person in calamity and difficulty. That because of you, he is going through a harm. Because of you, he is going through difficulty. So as we live in Muslim environments, our Muslim neighborhoods, we need to develop the quality of Muslims as true Islam, as true mu'min, to live in those areas. Otherwise, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam has warned the ummah that from the signs of the Day of Judgment, لا يبقى من الإسلام إلا اسمه. رواه الترمذي الحكيم. Imam al-Tirmidhi Hakim rahimahullah has mentioned this narration, that amongst the signs of the Day of Judgment, that people will be just Muslim by name, but not by characters. So we need to bring those characteristics into our life. As one of the teachers used to say, that the wording needs to come into life. Nuqush ko nufus mein lana hai. He used to say this in Urdu. Nuqush ko nufus mein lana hai. What is nuqush? The writings, what we read in the books, in the ahadith, on pages. These are nuqush. And nufus is what? Is your own life, your own character. So we have to bring those letters into our own characters, into our life, and then we will see the difference. We will see the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will see a society of love, peace, and tranquility in our life, inshaAllah. We ask Allah to grant us the true understanding and the ability to practice. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.